Hey folks, welcome to another edition of On the Front Porch with BP. And we were on the front porch when we started, but the good Lord saw fit to give us a passel of rain outside, so we had to move in the studio for the rest of this shoot. We appreciate you coming in and being a part of our little program today. And I want to talk to you about something that a lot of folks are really concerned about, and that's judging. You know, the Bible says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And you go on to read, it talks about having a speck in somebody else's eye and a beam in your eye to need to get that beam out of your eye before you try to get a speck out of somebody else's eye, and it goes on to say a whole lot of stuff there. But the fact is that people are going to judge. The fact is, sometimes they're going to judge folks and be malicious about it. The fact is that we all make judgments. Sometimes you have to make a judgment. But what you really need to be sure of is that when you make a judgment, you got your ducks in a row. Let me tell you a story about that. There was an old man, and he had a son, 24-year-old. They were on a train way out west, coming back from California. And the young man was looking out the window, and as he was looking out the window, he saw the trees going right by that train fast and just going right by. And he turned to his daddy and said, Daddy, the trees are going right by us so fast." Old man just looked at the boy and nodded his head. He said, "Yep, sure are, son." A few minutes later, the boy looking out the window, he turned to his daddy real quick and said, Daddy, the clouds are keeping up with us." The old man smiled, said, "Yep, son, they sure are." Well, right across the aisle there on the train was a man and his wife, a young couple, and they'd been watching this, and they decided they would tap the old man on the shoulder, and the fellow did. He tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Sir," he said, "why don't you take this young man to the doctor? It's obvious there's something wrong with him." And they had seen how he was acting about the clouds and the trees. The old man looked at the young fellow that asked the question, and he said, "Son, we just came back from the doctor." Of course, the young fellow looked at him with a puzzled look. He said, "Yeah, you don't understand. It's the first time he ever seen a cloud or a tree in his whole entire life." You see what kind of judgment those folks made? It was an absolutely wrong judgment. You know, Jesus was in the temple one day and outside the outer court, and there was a crippled man there, and he'd asked the Lord for healing. And so Jesus went to the crippled man and healed him. And of course, the preachers of that day, the Pharisees and all, they jumped down his throat just like a duck on a June bug. And he said, "What do you mean healing on the Sabbath?" And Jesus began to tell them about circumcision. They did it on the Sabbath, and what was the difference of following God's ordinances there and healing a man. And he told them something that's very important to remember. He said, when you make a judgment, you be sure you make a righteous judgment. You see, the young man was only telling the truth about what he saw out the window. The folks on the other side of the aisle, they didn't know what was going on. They were completely in the dark. So when you get ready to judge somebody, you be sure you walk a mile in their shoes. Get your ducks in a row, find out all the information that you need to find out, and then make a righteous judgment. This message brought to you by the Highland Baptist Church, and I am BP, and we appreciate you.